It's on the checklist of things to get done. Double rubble. There's so much equipment lying around. Why make one gadget after each combat when you can make two? Wait, not can, must. That's the word. Find extra equipment, start with double equipment and upgraded hammers. Make twice as many gadgets. Welcome back to Dicey Dungeons. Remember, if you'd like to be on the show, just write to us here at the Dungeons. Don't forget to whisper your most secret hope into the envelope. You're going to see the new Matrix movie now? Well, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, we lost the spawner. Zero tickets sold so far. Nice. All right. So I think playing like that is bad because you could get those three and now you have to pick one of them. Whereas I think we can win with those. And we'll swap the two cards we don't want to play without. Just because you're not winning by planning ahead doesn't mean it's not a proper strategy. Just because you're not winning by planning ahead doesn't mean that's not... I don't understand what you're saying. Planning ahead is a proper strategy. Unless you're saying the strategy of not planning is a strategy. Which technically anything can be a strategy. But that's kind of an obtuse way of saying something was a strategy of, what was your strategy? I'm just going to go in completely blind and hope that I win. Technically it is a strategy, but as far as strategies go, that's crap. It's not a strategy. Okay, so we don't want to swap out hammer or thing. We'll take out this one and that one. I said I didn't feel like I won because I won because of planning, but because of RNG. Yes. And even though it might be a technicality that just hoping that RNG carries you, technically that is a strategy, I guess. But I think if you have to justify something where someone goes, I'm not using any strategy, I'm just going to go on blind luck, for someone the other side of the coin go, that's technically a strategy. It's like, no, technically you're just being a jerk about it. Like, it's not. It's not an actual strategy just to hope. Especially when you're saying, I'm going to relinquish all strategy and put it on the line for hope. What's that thing where it goes around in circles on itself? At best, it's one of those. You know, the next sentence is true, this sentence is a lie, something like that, whatever that thing is. The strategy here is to maximize your odds getting favorable RNG, but there's never a guarantee that you can get what you want. Well, that's the generalist approach to most roguish games. And it's about finding anything that'll work, I guess. Need to plan more for this episode with all equipments being turned to gadgets? No, that's the problem. You can't. Because you're relying more on the inflated amount of chests and the double loot drops. So you can plan with additive increments to a builder. You can't plan with forced decrements. Yeah, I know you're not trying to be a jerk. I'm not accusing you of that. But what I'm saying is that what's the way to put it? It's like trying to prove a negative, I guess. You can't strategize. And that's the thing, because you're being forced to remove, you can't plan into what could be added based on a removal, especially since the removal's random. So like there's definitely some strategic points you can play. One being never have 3 items that you want to be playing against the boss with, or something later on. Because if 3 things get chosen, let's say for some reason I wanted my final hand to have 2 hammers and a spanner. By putting those in play, they could be the 3 that get chosen. Right? Now I have to sacrifice one of them. So I guess there's a part of a strategy. So, right. And also I would like, if possible, to have a hammer gadget going into the final fight. So by playing the 2 hammers in the last fight, then there's an opportunity to have that happen. Right. But that doesn't help, so that can help you along as you go. But now that's what I said about having to play your weakest deck, and now you're relying on these being stronger. Okay? Whereas in the standard builder, sometimes you get stronger stuff, and sometimes you make do with what you have. You can't make do with what you have if the game then forces you to get rid of it, right? And so in a normal game where like any, especially with deck builders and stuff, as you progress, you take the things that, and this game's got a really good example of this, because like Slay the Spire, right? If you take something that's a little bit better than what you've got, you might be increasing the strength of your deck, but you could also be doing what we talk about of like muddying your deck, like you're diluting it late game, you know, and you've got to weigh that balance up of how much will this card I add, how much stronger will it make the deck now versus how much weaker will it make it later. You know, because you don't want to take, even though you might be increasing your deck a few times in Act 1, you don't want to like flood it full of rubbish cards, smash Hexaghost and then die to champ, right? Whereas this game's got a bit easier because you can openly, like outside of combat, you can open up your equipment and swap things around. So you can take a really crappy upgrade from a chest at the start when you've only got 2 weapons, because now you'll have 3. And that's straight up better, and you can get rid of it later. Right? So as far as building along the way goes, you've got the best chance to get the best deck. And if you don't get the best cards or something you want, it's okay, because you did make some upgrades along the way. Right? So you play with those to slowly kill things that are incrementally getting stronger. But by doing that now with this character, one of those is going to get taken away from you. And replace the gadget thing. Devs did make it easy. I honestly think this one falls into the... I've played it. Some of you might be aware of my gaming background. Others might not. But I've played a few roguish games. Just a couple hours here and there. Yeah, just a small amount. And the vast majority of it comes down to... balance doesn't necessarily get taken into account. As long as sometimes you can win and sometimes you lose. Most of the comments of Steam reviews will just say it's all RNG anyway, whether it is or whether it isn't. And as long as you can kind of make sure that even the really good players won't win 100% of the time, and the really bad players won't lose 100% of the time, you've just got to fall somewhere in between there, and everyone just accepts good game. I think on the whole the game's fairly strategical. I think there might be enough you can hang on to with Inventor in the standard one to sort of compensate, because you can have a dead spot or a and you can use your equipment bag to sort of bank up bonus sets of gear, so if you lose something you can put it back in. Yeah, but there's things like you don't get to choose the order of the fights in terms of the whole run. You have to take the level 1 fights on level 1. You can't come back to them after. There's no stairs back up. I think totally for this one, I think it's worth skipping a fight, potentially. If you have a clear path to the exit and you've got a good setup, like you come out of a fight with a good setup of things, I think, that's, probably what you want. So on the bottom floor, and again, this is like, so these are the small bits of strategy you can put in place at certain points. But as soon as there's a gap like this, like what we say on floor 5, clear the path to the exit, and on the fight before you clear the path, put the cards in with the hope of what you want to get gadget-wise out of the final bit, so that if you get that, you can put the other cards in and go down and fight the boss. Right? And if you don't get that, put more cards back in, go fight something else. But there's the spot before that happens. So you can have strategy, like parts in the run that have a strategy and have strategy moments. And if you can link all of those up from start to finish with sound reasoning and like all those bits that we've, I've had a few, you guys have had a few, and put those together, well, then you can have an extremely complex, long-winded strategy. I believe that there's gaps in that along the way, where part of it becomes you're just going to have to wing it and hope that you get there. And I don't care what anyone says. I can never be swayed that if as soon as someone says, I'm throwing strategy out the window and winging it, you can't turn around and go, that's the strategy. It's like, no, you've thrown strategy out the window. Hope is not a strategy. You're constantly winning with Inventor by decisions on this episode, or Inventor on episode 1. Okay, I'm just going to straight up ask, what is your win-loss record on episode 2? Not abouts or I think or whatever, like, what exactly is it? Asking for a friend. Oh, conveniently, it tells you on the start at the thing at the start of the game. You can mouse over the episode, so you don't have to keep stats. Mega Bump. One of these a mimic? No. Okay. Alright. I don't know if, which... and I think just in general, now I'm probably guilty of this myself, so I'm not upset by it or anything. But I don't think describing whether it's a win or a loss or experiences or anything else without having actual hard data, not I think or abouts or it's approximately or whatever, can back up a this is possible, whether you're saying I do it or I've seen someone do it or collectively I know it gets done. Because without being able to say a win rate of exactly 63% or record of 21 and 15 or like actual numbers in there, any statement that says, yep, consistently or roughly or whatever is just confirmation bias. And like I said, I'm guilty of doing that too. Because I look at some things and go, no, I know I win more than that on this, or I lose more on this. And then you go look it up and you're like, oh, actually, that's not what I knew. I knew I was winning, until the numbers showed me I wasn't. Because confirmation bias exists because we're humans, right? I want to just buy crap. I think buying crap is okay in critical thinking is key. Yeah. Or more so critical analysis, statistical driven. You need to have numbers. You need to take any human element out of it. I mean, you're allowed to say you feel stuff, but it can't be used as a counter, really. And that's why I said I felt that the win I got yesterday wasn't more than just plan hope. Not really plan hope, like. But it wasn't a win that felt like, yeah, I earned that. I learnt and earned it. Whereas the witch one, I felt at the end of that, like I had to learn how to play that better and then learn how to. Not only the knowledge on how to play it better, I actually had to implement my knowledge really well on the witch. And I think I could have won that round earlier, but I didn't. I made some choices that I learnt from. Or choices that I had already learnt but didn't implement, and then had to suffer through because I put spell in the wrong spot. I wonder if I mega bump. I did get a bonus dice off the 6. Okay. It was a critical thinking in various course. A lot of people in class couldn't accept they were heavily biased in many ways. Yeah. think it falls into one of the things that people don't want to believe that they're fallible. Even though you know you are. Like, well, maybe people don't. Maybe it's just different people that realize that, you know, we make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You know, ideally, it's not okay to make the same mistake over and over again. Sometimes we do, and that's like that happens. I have no idea how strong the urge you have to contact your ex-girlfriend to get the data of past playthroughs on her PC. Imagine going through all the hassle only to confirm a bias and actually having a shit win rate. You gotta admit that'd be funny on some level. Half the class couldn't accept gambling fallacy. It was red 10 times in a row, must be black again, right? The problem with that is, and this is why casinos have limits on tables, is because if you have deep enough pockets, you will win eventually, right? Now, even though we know that technically you won't, because the gambler's fallacy doesn't mean that, like, let's say you're going to bet on black, right? And it keeps coming up red. Gambler's fallacy says it's going to be black next, right? And that's wrong. It's not. It's 50-50, right? But in reality, it is eventually going to go black. It is not going to roll red for the rest of eternity. And if you had deep enough pockets, you'd just keep betting, wouldn't you? Just keep doubling up, just keep going and going. And eventually when it does come up, you're going to win. That's why casinos have table limits, right? And even though it's not exactly a proof, it's kind of an indication. There's a reason why casinos have certain things in place that they do. That's to make money, right? So that can kind of be, you can kind of glean from that the reason that, casinos know that, if we set the limit at a spot, so, and it's to stop someone on a roulette table starting at like $1, okay, $2, $4, $8, $16, because eventually they're going to hit the table limit. They might win, they might lose, but it's just to stop it from going out of control, because if they didn't put a table limit, like I said, someone will come in with a big enough loan or a marker and they'll clean up every time. He taught a critical thinking course, panicked when you gave them a reading that was full of fallacies, and general consensus was, yeah, it's a pretty compelling article. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's a great quote, Mr. TNT. The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. Yep. And that's pretty much it. Right. Now, granted, the you in that argument does not refer to certain people, but it's a very, very strong generalization. What's the win-loss on that doubling up? Hang on. Is it? Ah, well, at any rate, it still prevents loss, right? And you don't have to double up, you could triple up, or quadruple up each time. You know. Or start with a significant initial bet. And yeah, most of the winning covers the past losses. Starting with $1,000 and then try and double up, you get absurd amounts of money very quickly. Yeah, except you hit the table limit. This will be interesting. I want to see, is this going to do 6 damage twice? Or is it going to go 6 and 8? 16. 6, 8. Nice. Well, that's the thing, yeah. Well, okay, so it's derived off the idea that you take out, you borrow the money to play. I'm sure many people, I know multiple people who came up with this idea as a young adult. It's like, I'm going to borrow the money, I'm going to put in this strategy in place, make a good winning, and then give the money back. Yeah? Because they don't have, obviously, if you've got billions of dollars, making 10,000 on a night at the casino's not a huge deal, right? But to someone who's got no money and doesn't actually realize that that's not going to work, that sounds like a great deal. But yeah, table limits exist to stop that. What does upgraded electromagnet do? Oh, we can have a look. I like how you can buy the upgrade, have a look, and then back out of it. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then I'm going to instantly put it in my, make sure I could, never spend it. Your cousin came up with that as well? Yeah, lots of people come up with that idea. We sat there, we watched the casino for a long time. The casino, when I was at university in town, was, well, apart from the fact that it had bars, but it was just around the corner from a couple of the pubs we frequented. And we always had this grand idea of winning big at the casino, and we thought we had the system down. And the casino gave out cheat sheets and little pencils so you could mark and keep track of everything. Right? Because they knew you couldn't. But I guess they figured if you're going to sit in there for hours collecting data, you might spend money somewhere, or maybe even be convinced that your system worked. The roulette tables had the last at least dozen spins on an LED board on a pole above the table. And they had, so you could see, and they'd had the numbers. I can't remember if they were split left and right, black and red, or odds. I think they were odd even. The black, red, left, right. Plus they were also in black or red, or maybe they were odd. But, so you could see all the numbers because they wanted people to see, so that people be like, oh, that table's had 10 reds. Let's go over there quickly, And the card they gave you for the spinning wheel, where you could bet either on 1, 3, 5, 9, something, I don't know, and then the jackpot. You could just go get a card and a pencil and mark, what the last, whatever you wanted on it, because they knew that they had the odds. And we sat there trying to work out, many times trying to work out what the optimal betting was for minimal losses, and occasionally it doesn't exist. Yeah, they're paid entertainment, not meant to earn money. No, you tell that to the professional gamblers. With the difference is where what doesn't exist in all casinos is head-to-head poker, where the casino takes a rake, in which case then you can potentially be that, but you're taking money directly from another person. And a lot of people don't like it for that specific reason. The hands where the house doesn't even play, like it's just you versus someone else, and they take a rake. Like, the problem is also with that, you can get bullied off the table by someone, that goes to the ATM and comes back and goes, all right, I'm going to outbid you. You knew someone like that, he lost his house. Yeah. That's the other thing, right? Furry, double next action. Oh, that seems like a good one to have as a thing. And then repeat the next action, repeat the next action. And then electromagnet. Oh, I should have done something different for that one. Never mind. I should have got that lower. I need cards. So here's an issue. I am going to run out of cards. And this right here is where it comes down to what I was saying about the can't plan for decremental. Because the only way to guarantee not losing a something that I want is to not have that combination of things that I want in there. But then by doing that, I have to go in without enough stuff to win. Or make the bad play and just hope. Depends. Do I have enough health to not lose? I don't know. So it becomes a... If I go in with a weak hand and lose, is that better off than going in with a strong hand and losing it just to lose later? Or can I get my strong hand back? Losing fast is better than losing slow? Yeah. And this is the thing with... so you look at like Slay the Spire, right? And you go for the elite because you're like, okay, I'm either going to lose fast or I'm going to get the kill and get a relic and get stronger. Right? And this is like an incremental progression. Right? So you make the choice. You go, okay, or I could go this other path, which I think is fairly safe, but then maybe lose further up because I doubt there's going to be anything along that way that's going to make me strong enough to win. Right? So you're actually choosing losing quickly with a chance the outcome is losing quickly or getting strong enough to win versus losing slowly, right? Whereas this is different. This is giving myself an option to lose quickly and leave myself with a chance to win, versus give myself a chance to lose by winning now. Right? And especially in most games, you want to eliminate most of the chances to lose if you're holding on. Silence, man. Oh, sugar. He has no doge. Okay. So potentially, because of the health here, and because I didn't kill an enemy upstairs, there's almost no benefit to clearing this floor, because we won't level off the last one. Running 6 pieces of equipment when you have 10 is straight up bad because it brings RNG to the table. No. It's not about the total number. It's about the chance of getting 3 that you don't want to get. If you only had 2 pieces in there that you needed to keep, whether you have, you know what I mean? You can't get rid of them. So the extra pieces didn't matter, but extra pieces can give you a better fight. Now, if you've got really strong gadgets, the extra pieces in a good fight don't matter. Yeah. Do I want roll an extra dice? I think I want roll an extra dice and 3 shock. I mean, shock 3 is pretty good against a boss. It's 3 shock damage, which is kind of but it's okay. Roll an extra dice is really good. Well, it depends what you want to do. Conserve what your outcome you want is to conserve health, or so I was in a spot where I wasn't 1 fight from the stairs. So controlling the RNG of the outcome of that wasn't about getting the best boss fight item. If anything, I don't want to get the best boss fight item. So I need to have more items available. 1, so I've got less chance of eliminating an item that can give me, like, ruin my final set, or get one that I want to keep for next time. Potentially, now that I'm going into the last fight before a boss, now I want the best chance to get a good gadget. You know, but 2 fights out, or 2 or more fights out, as long as I can't lose something I want, or potentially lose something that I want to get in the last fight, then all other items are irrelevant. However, by having more items that I could care less for, gives me a better chance of finishing the fight with higher health. So yeah, if it comes down to, if you've got 3 things that, if you've got 3 things that you could give a shit about, or 10 that you could give a shit about, it doesn't matter that the 10 has more random. You give a shit about any of them anyway, right? So the amount of RNG at that point is not a factor. Like, it's a who cares. I'm just putting more trash out. So I'm increasing the RNG on what piece of trash gets selected, which doesn't matter. Except now I've got more trash to throw during the fight. I want to shock this guy up too. Discharge 0 damage. Oh, I definitely don't want to be playing that. You know, no chance of getting there? None of this matters. So ultimately I want to do that. Does your place show the time that it will start? Or the time that the previews start? Previews. Oh, it's close then, isn't it? Is it worth running down? Did I have an extra electromagnet plus? I think I did. Yeah, so what I was talking about earlier was I was almost confident at that sort of moment in the run yesterday there was strategy you could employ if you're in a position that you were capable of, which was determined by the state of your backpack and total amounts of pulls. And eventually I got one where I didn't even need to, it just sort of fell into my lap. But this was like we did here. But there was a gap in the middle of the game where it was like, I can't not do anything. I have to take cards because if I don't, I'm definitely going to lose. And if I save the cards that I want, yeah, I'll be too short. If I take the cards that I need to win the fight, I'm going to get one that I'm going to have to get rid of. So there's this like weird trench where you go from early game strategy, which is really important, to this mid game where you want it to be important, but it just felt out of control. And then making the decisions at the end to come through, which again, when you can put some strategy in place. I just don't think there's a cohesive strategy from the start to finish, especially in this mode. In the base one where you're only losing one piece of equipment, it's not so bad.
No.
Oh man. This one isn't too bad because we potentially have a spot available. Right? Yeah, well, the chest is part of the design. This here is... like, you have to take this. They don't tell you have to. Oh, at least it's only a one piece. Okay. The fact that this boss existed annoys me. I like this wooden stake option. I hate that it goes in your layout. Right? Because now you have to get rid of potentially... Now, we were running 5, so we were okay. Lucky. But if you're running 6 cards because, I don't know, whatever reason, you can't do that now. And so not only is your build weakened, you now also have to supply 40 points into kill for him. I think if it just came on as a bonus thing down here, you know, you picked it up, it was down here, you had to put 40 points into it, effectively giving him an extra 40 health, right? That still sucks, but because then now he's got 102 hit points now. Well, not really, because not all of this transfers to damage, where all dice will transfer into countdowns. Gonna make a difference. Can't. No, it doesn't. Well, let's do it next time. Let's save the focus for the blind's turn. Which is next turn. This guy's focus makes all your dice sixes. As long as he doesn't kill me this turn. Suppose I'm just going to have to do this myself. Ridiculous. You know the drill. Well done, blah, blah, blah. I've spun the wheel. But oh look. Seems like you didn't win your heart's desire this time. What a shock. That was, well, there's probably harder ones for the disappearing gear.